Welcome to the Driven Moms Answering Adversity interview series, Stories of Success Through Setbacks from Mom Elevated. Together, we can shine a light on how normal challenges and struggles are, along with how we can overcome and rise above them. And today we have Jenell with us to share her story. I can't wait to hear it. I've heard pieces so far, and it's going to be great. So, can you briefly tell us about you and your story?
Sure. Hi, my name is Jenell. Um, and I am a life coach for single moms. I started this a couple of years ago to help other single moms. So because of what I have gone through in my life. And when my kids were young, I had been married and I ended up homeless. And I didn't know where to go. And eventually I found myself on the steps of a homeless shelter on Thanksgiving Day, 18 years ago. And I just decided that this was not going to be my life. I was able to then move in with my mother temporarily. I obtained my nursing degree. We got our own place. We and within 7 years, I was able to buy my own home. And now we've lived here for the last 13 years. And so I'm just really want to just help the other single moms realize that, even when you just think you're at rock bottom, there's still always a way up. There's still always a way up.
That's amazing. No, I love that. And do you think so? You said you went through that and you were at the homeless shelter, like on the steps of the homeless shelter, and that's when you decided. Do you think that was probably the pivotal moment? Or do you think it was more of, I mean, because it sounds like it was quite a story from that, and then also going through your nursing program, that's not an easy one. So
Right.
getting through all of that, making sure that you're gonna succeed and you're gonna continue and you're gonna complete that with your children, also not easy. And then really just saying, I'm gonna get this, I'm gonna go. What would you say the biggest adversity that you answered, and how did you really go about answering that?
I think the biggest adversity. So when that happened that day, I did not end up staying at the homeless shelter because when we went in, they didn't know that we were coming, even though I had made all the plans for us to be there. So that was really hard. So a lot of people are like, well, why couldn't you have just stayed with your mom? Like, why did you even go to the homeless shelter? My mom lived in a one-bedroom place and she was on housing assistance. So if you know anything about housing assistance, you can't just have anybody come live with you because then you can lose your housing assistance. So I was not willing to put my mother at risk of losing her place because of me. Well, she just said, I said, they don't know I'm coming. And it just wasn't, I went back to her house, to her place. And she's like, we'll figure it out. And so ironically, um, a month later, she became ill and she was in a hospital for many months. So my kids and I still stayed in her place. But I got a job. I was at LPN already. I just hadn't been working because I had just graduated some months before. And so I found a job literally on Christmas Eve at church. It was on a bulletin board. And so and honestly, my church that I had at the time, they helped me with some things. They had a Good Samaritan fund and they gave me some grocery money and that kind of thing. But I found a job, got the job, started right away in January, and I worked there for 12. I ended up working there for 12 years. That was like a huge part of my nursing career. I So I think what drives me is just that I had grown up poor, and with a single mom, and then when I got married, we were still poor. And I just don't think I just I you know that you don't want to you know that you want to be better, you want to live a different situation, and you don't want to have you want to provide your usually the thought that goes through your head is like my kids are going to have a better life that I had, and my kids have had a better life, and they were, but we were still always broke. So I think that my drive just was he was gone, and so I was like, it's all up to me now. And honestly, I think that was almost this sounds terrible, maybe, but it was almost like a relief because even though everything was now on me, I had more faith in myself that I could make a better life for my children. So, um, I secured us a place. It was very hard. I never expected to be this really, I was discriminated against for being a single mom because I literally had people, well, have you ever used a, looking for places to live, have in townhouses. Well, have you ever used a lawnmower? Have you ever used a snow blower? I live in the Midwest. Well, no, but I'm sure you could teach me. Like I have a degree. Um, and so I'm sure you could teach me. And they didn't want to. They didn't want to. A woman told me, she's like, oh, I just don't think this would work. You have to be able to cut the grass. And I was like, and the irony is that before that, before my mother was ill, a couple of years before that, she had her own lawn mowing business. So it's not like I didn't have resources. I was like, okay. So I found a place. I found a townhouse for my kids, and we lived there for 8 years until I was able to buy my house. And in those 8 years, I went back and I got my RN degree, my 2-year degree, and then I got my bachelor's, and then I got my master's. Um, and then I met my current husband during that time, and we've now been together 7.5 years. And so that's just
That's
kind of how the progression went. I just decided it was just, I just felt like I knew that I could do more.
that's incredible. Wow, I can't even. And having to face all of that and having people be like, no, no,
Mm.
over and over again. And you're like, I can do this. Like having that determination is really amazing to see and to, I mean, I didn't watch it, but to watch it even unfold in your story is just incredible. But so if you started out as, the LPN into the RN and all of those things, how did your entrepreneurial journey start? Because that sounds like it's
Oh,
a story too.
honestly, it started a couple of years ago. I was listening to a podcast that a friend had told me about, and it was a weight loss program because everybody struggles with something, and that is still what I I am so good at all of my goals. I still struggle with weight. So a couple of years ago, I 3 year it was about 3.5 years ago, and I found this life coach. I didn't know she was a life coach. She was a weight loss coach. And so that's how I even learned about what coaching was. I had kind of heard like of coaches, but didn't really investigate, didn't really know anything. So as I was on this weight loss journey with it, I met more coaches and more coaches. And then I thought, um, and then the pandemic started. And I had started I started an LLC for a nurse consultant because I thought, well, just, you never know what's going to happen with this. Um, I, I was secure in my role, my job. I knew that I was going to keep my job, but you still never know. And I really still always just wanted to help people. So I obtained my LLC to have a consulting business. And then as I was doing some more research, I was like, oh, I think I want to be a coach. Like I want to, and I played with around with, who do I want to help everybody. And I was like, oh, I kind of have to, you know, niche that down a little bit, I think, because it's hard to help everybody. Can I help everybody? Absolutely. But I, it's not practical. So I just thought, what is, a lot of time, most life coaches are based on like something they've gone through. And I was like, I've been a single mom, and I was in some of these mom groups. And well, for one, there's like no single mom groups. So I started a single mom group. There's no, there's a lot of things I've noticed with single moms of I can't do this, I can't do this because of kids, because of kids, because of kids. And I was like, yes, you can. Yes, you can. So I just decided I was going to be a life coach for single moms. Um, and so that's how that started.
I think that's beautiful. And it's true. You do usually help people based on your own experience, and your messaging is usually more clear when you're speaking to something that you are familiar with, and that's definitely
Right,
something that you're familiar with. So,
right.
while
And
yes,
I
you can help other people and it transfers, it's still that's like home.
exactly. And I have reined it in to I help single moms reach their goals. And I do that because in my nursing career, I worked in quality assurance, and that's what quality assurance is. You have a goal, you have a time frame, how are you going to get it done?
Yeah.
I'm very good at that. And I thought, well, what is it that what is it that single moms want to do? They want to get out of debt. They want to know how to manage their money. They don't even know how to they don't even know how, and not they, as in not all of them, but their complaints, I don't even know how to make a budget. I wouldn't even know where to start. I don't, someday I would like to go back to school, but I'm going to have to wait the other big thing is I'm going to have to wait till the kids are grown before I do anything.
Yep.
Are you kidding? You're going to wait 18 years of your life? You're going to wait for 18 years to finally go after what you want? No way. I promise you that I can help you figure out how to do it now. And
Like,
so
it can feel so
I,
confining when you're in
yes.
the moment. I was a single mom for 2 years as well, 2.5
Mhm.
years. And yeah, it can feel very almost almost suffocating when you think about trying to get yourself out of that where position that people place you in really and
Right.
find that internal drive.
Hmm. Exactly. And you have other people telling you that you can't do it. Why are you thinking about yourself? Your kids are supposed to come first. The kids always come first. The kids' needs always come first. I
Yeah.
I never put my kids aside for me to get out of debt, go to school. Like they never went without. Nothing
Yeah.
happened with that. And I think unfortunately there is this thought that goes around that you're not putting your kids first if you're taking care of yourself. Well, you have to take care of yourself, and you still have that right to go after what you want. And it's one of the things that I did talk with my kids about as they grew older. And I said, honestly, like I'm Jenell first. Like that's I'm Jenell first. That my mom is a title, being a mother is a title, being an RN is a title. Like all of these things are titles. I love doing all of them. Heavily invested in all of them, and I don't regret any of it. But I'm still Jenell first. And what does Jenell want to do? And so that's kind of the mindset that I had as I was going through each of these in this period of time, going after each goal that I had was, okay, so what is it that I want to do? And every single thing that I did made me a better mom, gave my kids way more opportunities than I had ever even thought that I would be able to give them. Um, and it also, I, my career, I excelled in my career, and just various other things. But
Yeah.
you have to, like I said, I had to, what is it that Jenell wants, not what everybody else is telling me I should
Yeah,
do.
and then you modeled that behavior for them, like, that became
Right,
that's their standard, they see that, I think that's wonderful.
right, right.
What do you think it is about entrepreneurs? And, I mean, I feel like you had the entrepreneurial spirit even before you were an entrepreneur, just hearing you talk, but what do you think it is about entrepreneurs that m makes us continue on through those challenges without giving up when times are tough? What what is that one ingredient?
I think it's dedication, and dedication is a word I've had in my head a lot. Every year, what's the word? What's the word for the new year? And I just think like dedication along with a drive. I've just always had that something. Never in a million years did I ever think I would have my own business, be an entrepreneur. Like I never thought I would ever do any of this. And I just thought, and I thought I would keep going, get my PhD, and be a college professor. That's what I thought. And I was like, No, I could teach in a different way. And I do. I kind of do it in my full-time job. Nurses were teachers anyways, in a lot of the things that we have to do. And then even with life coaching, we're teaching tools and strategies and all kinds of things. So I am still get to teach. So I think that it's just it's the dedication, but maybe dedication is not the drive. It's just something always in my head that I'm like, what else is next? I just always like, what else can I do? What else? Um, just what else? I just
Yeah.
always wonder what else. And then honestly, I like see all these other people doing things, and I was like, well, I should be able to do well, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And that's such an old saying, but it's very accurate.
Yeah.
I mean, people who have started with less than me or more than me or a similar history, or it's like, well, yeah, and I think a lot of that then comes to your belief on whether or not. So that for entrepreneurs, they have that drive to do it, but I think then they also have that belief in themselves that they can do it. So, because you have to be able to take risks, you have to be afraid to, you have to be able to fail. I have failed a lot. I mean, I have, um, but I had a life coach tell me I honestly had somebody who needed practice for life coaching for her, and I said I'll do it. And she was asking me some questions. This was early. This was about 2 years ago, and when I first started, and she's like, "Well, what are you nervous about?" Or it came up about being nervous, and I said, "Well, being a nurse, I know being a nurse. I have done this for 18 years. I know how to be a nurse." I said, "But having a business and doing this," she's like, "Okay, so, but it took you 18 years to be as good as you are right now as a nurse. So why do you think, so at that time it had been like 2 months, why do you think in 2 months you're going to be as good as you are as being a nurse for 18 years?" And I was like, and that has, and like I said, she was a student, so she wasn't certified yet, or wasn't finished with her schooling yet. And I was like, I have never forgotten that. I was like, that is so good.
That's a
But
key
she's
point.
right.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's something that you could take away from literally everything in your life too.
Yes,
Beautiful.
exactly.
That
Exactly.
piggybacking off of that, what takeaway or lesson, and maybe it is that, but what takeaway or lesson would other mompreneurs be able to use from your experience then?
Oh, um, I think the biggest thing that was for me was to literally just keep going. And again, I know that that is just something that a lot of people say, and just keep going, but you are going to wake up every day anyways. So how do you want that day to be? Do you want that day to be where you woke up and you're like, forget it, I just can't do this? Or do you want this day to be like, okay, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to get this done today. Because if you're trying to reach some kind of big goal, if you're a new entrepreneur or someone who's been an entrepreneur, but you always have a goal. You always have goals that you are trying to reach, whether it's business, metrics, money, clients, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Every day you have a goal. And some people do it by month, they do it by quarter, they do it by year. You still have to start small. So every day, ask yourself, what am I doing today that's going to get me closer to my goal? And that is what it honestly, I'm not going to tell the truth. It took me a little bit to even have that thought for myself. Like, okay, I knew I was working towards my goals, but what I have decided now, what am I doing every single day that is going to go to? So it might be a post or doing this podcast or just talking with people in the groups, letting them know that I'm there, like
Yeah.
anything, just something that I am moving so that I am moving forward, letting people know. And yeah, that's what I just every day doing something close to work towards your goal.
Take action every day. Absolutely. Yeah. Little bits, because that really is, it stacks up and it will start. It's like leaving breadcrumbs. Somebody's going to find them and they'll be
Right.
left there. You don't know when they're going to find them, but they will find them. And that's amazing to have them there.
Right.
So with that, what is the best way for others to find you if they'd like to learn more, chat with you, or work with you?
My website is www.successandthesinglemom.com. I also have an Instagram, which is Jenell.Lauren, and a Facebook, which is Jenell Lauren. But I also have a Facebook group that's free. So for any of the single moms out there who want to join, I would love to have you. And it is called Success in the Single Mom.
And I will make sure that I include all the links in the description, in the email, in the posts that I include with this so that they can find you easier as well. But that way, if they're listening, they still have that to refer to. Thank
Great.
you so much for joining us today. I feel like you have so much knowledge to share and so many tidbits that are very helpful for everybody. I really, really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. I know that it can be hard sometimes, or, we sit and judge ourselves for how we're speaking, what we're saying, or going back and saying, I could have said something else. But your story is very inspirational, and your willingness to share it and be open about it is very much appreciated and needed in this space, in this time. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. And for those of you out there who are facing your own adversity, know that you're not alone. That's the whole point of this. You are not alone. You can hear these stories and you can relate to them. You can see the connection in your own story and know that you are not alone in what you are going through. When you need an extra hand or mind for brainstorming during your mompreneur journey, we would love to work with you through the Mom Elevated Society. You'll find monthly check-ins for goal setting and assessing, and so much more for both your business and your mom life. And until next time, keep shooting for the stars.